Hello friends, welcome again to the tetrahedron chemistry classes. So guys, if you remember in my last lecture, I was discussing epoxide ring opening with the variety of the reagents, but at the time actually the length of the video has increased so much, so I have stopped somewhere around at 1 hour. So today I'll cover the remaining part of the epoxide ring opening with other reagents, which will actually enhance your organic synthesis knowledge. And these epoxides are very important in the organic synthesis, whether it is the formation of the epoxide, that is epoxidation, or whether it is the epoxide ring opening, that means de-epoxidation. Okay, both are important. So right now I'm discussing the de-epoxidation, that is epoxide ring opening, and in the next class I'll discuss the epoxidation in detail also. So before going into the details of the today's lecture, let me remind you what we have done so far. Okay, so this was my last lecture. Okay, here you can see here I have discussed these epoxide ring opening with the variety of the nucleophiles. Okay, I have already discussed all these things to you. These are the reagents which generally required. Okay, then I have discussed in the basic medium the mechanism and what would be the regioselectivity in that case. Whenever you have, see, this is your asymmetric epoxide, so obviously the regioselectivity would be there. So you will have these two products, one with the inversion of configuration and the C2 actually, right? So these all I have already discussed. I am not going into the details further. Then I have discussed the mechanism in the acidic medium also, and that acidic medium actually goes via SN1 mechanism, while basic medium goes via SN2 mechanism. Okay, and then I have discussed the reaction, see, epoxide ring opening with the help of the Grignard reagent. Okay, and after that I have taken this acetylide, right? So this acetylide, again, it's a nucleophile, it can attack anywhere, and I have discussed the stereochemical requirement of the reactions also. If you have not viewed that particular lecture, then you can search in the tetrahedron chemistry classes epoxides ring opening by tetrahedron chemistry classes in the YouTube, then you will find the result there. Okay, then I have discussed these cyanides, right? How they can open the ring, and what products you can get in that case. Basically the formation of the nitriles in that case, right? That means beta substituted nitriles I have discussed. And then I have taken this HBr as a special case, though it is acidic in nature, but see, it goes via SN2 mechanism. So the expected product, the ratio of the expected product would be reverse, which we get in case of the acidic mechanism. Basically it goes like basic mechanism, because this Br actually is very strong nucleophile. So when this transition state actually form, so in this transition state actually this Br negative attacks. Okay, before the formation of the carbocation. So the see, the ratio of the product actually changes. And after that you see, I have discussed with the mechanism with the lithium aluminum hydride, and then beautifully drawn the different conformations required for the 6-membered ring to explain the things actually, right? Then I have also discussed some Decalene systems. Okay, so this we have done. And finally in last case, I have discussed the epoxide ring opening with the trimethyl silyl iodide. Okay, again you see a very important reaction. So today I am going to discuss some new methods which are very important for your organic synthesis knowledge. So it is my today's lecture. So what actually today we will see. So in my today's lecture, my part 1 is, say, epoxide ring opening with LDA. Epoxide ring opening with LDA, which is your lithium diisopropyl amide. Okay, so if you want to know the structure, I hope you know the structure. This is lithium, which is positively charged, okay, and nitrogen having a negative over there, and then 2 isopropyl groups are there in that case. So this is the structure. Okay, so this is methyl, this is also methyl, right? You see, this is methyl, this is methyl, this is methyl, this is methyl. So in overall it is actually isopropyl, and 2 times it is present, that means diisopropyl. So how actually this epoxide ring opening will occur in that case. So the important thing is that whenever you do the epoxide ring opening with the LDA, so basically you are converting your epoxide into allyl alcohols. Allyl alcohols. Okay, so again it's a very important point. So how you can do the reactions, I'm taking a very simple example for this. Say you are having this epoxide, okay, and that epoxide, say here you are having the CH3 group. So remember the condition is that whenever you want to open your epoxide with LDA, because you know this LDA is a very strong bulky base, very strong bulky base. So in order to work with this strong bulky base, you must have alpha CH bond. You must have alpha CH bond with respect to the epoxide. So this is your epoxide, this is your alpha carbon, okay. So this is having the CH3, that means we are having the three of these bonds, CH bond. So this condition is must, right? So when we have this condition, only then your lithium LDA will work actually. So now if you know the mechanism how it will happen, so simply you will write LDA here, okay, and after LDA you will dissolve this in the this solvent tetrahydrofuran, and then you will do the protic workup, H3O positive, and it simply result in the CH2 double bond CH, single bond CH2OH, okay. So this carbon is actually your allyl carbon. So from the basics of the organic chemistry, you know, whenever this double bond is here, so alpha to the double bond is actually your allyl carbon, and that allyl carbon is having the substitution of OH group, then it is allyl alcohol. If you have cyanide here, then it will be allyl nitrile. If halogens are there, then it would be your allyl halides, okay. So now the mechanism, how the mechanism goes for this reaction. So again, it's very simple and very easy. Now I have already told you that you are having this nitrogen with negative and two of the isopropyl group attached with it, and of course you are having the lithium with positive, and you have dissolved all these things in the THF. So what will happen actually, this LDA actually, right, this nitrogen will grab one of the hydrogen from here, okay. So if I want to show you the mechanism more correctly, so what I can do, I can put H here, again I can put H here, and again I can put H here, okay. So what will happen, this will attack, this negative charge will attack on the hydrogen, and this bond will break and the electron density shift over the carbon atom. So how actually it has happened, very important, this negatively charged nitrogen grab one of the proton which is present at the alpha position, because we are removing this hydrogen as the proton. So this electron pair will go to the carbon atom and will form a carbene ion. It is something very, very important, okay. So when this happens actually, then you will have this resulting species, and that resulting species would be just like that. Oxygen, see, two lone pairs are always there, and then you are having CH2 negative. So this is carbene ion, and don't forget lithium counter ion would also be there. So however, it is not necessary to write it. So what will happen after that? See, in that case, this negative charge actually, right, this, because this oxygen is more electronegative, and moreover it is having the lone pair, so it can show the type of the conjugation, okay. So this electron pair will shift over this carbon, which is, I say, this is carbon 2, this is carbon 3, okay. So it is shifting here, and when this electron shifting will occur, so this bond will break and the electron density will go to the oxygen. So what it will result actually, CH2 you have added as an internal nucleophile, okay, and now it is doubly bonded with this carbon number 2. So you can write CH here, so you can write it as carbon number 2, and then you are having this carbon number 3, which is your CH2 group, which is this one, and this having your oxygen with negative charge. This is how it opens actually, okay. And the moment you actually do your protonation to this one, that means you are adding protic, you are doing the protic workup. So this negative charge, negatively charged oxygen will grab the hydrogen, and it will result in the alcohol, allyl alcohol. So this is how the mechanism goes for this one. So quickly let us see one more example of this. Say I am having my compound, say this one, okay, and this is your epoxide. So you are having hydrogen everywhere. See, you are having hydrogen here, and you are also having hydrogen here. but this is the symmetric in nature. These two hydrogens as well as these two hydrogens, they are equivalent. Okay, their reactivity is same. So if you use the LDA, so now I'll not actually write the LDA structure again and again. Okay, so this LDA, what it will do actually, it will grab one of the hydrogen from here, and the electron pair will shift on this alpha carbon. So what would be the resulting species in that case? The resulting species again, see this carbene ion which is having the negative here, and this is your oxygen. So again it will shift here, and this electron goes there. Okay, and then you will have this species, the 6-membered ring. Okay, and this would be now double. Why this bond becomes double? Because this electron density has shifted here, so it has become now the double bond. So I am putting this double bond here. This bond has broken, and this position is having the oxygen. Okay, so when this position is having the oxygen, what you can do? You can write oxygen with negative charge. Okay, because it has shifted here. And if you do the protic workup for this one, say H positive, you are doing the, you are taking any acidic medium, so it will grab this proton, and again it will result alcohol, and that alcohol is your allyl alcohol. So this carbon is the allyl carbon. So this is how. But remember one thing, this LDA is actually very bulky base, so it will always abstract the proton is in that particular side which is actually your less sterically hindered. So what actually I am trying to explain, say if you have this structure, right, say you are having this structure in the 5-membered ring, I made this one. Okay, and here you see the CH3 is there, and in that case your hydrogen is here, while in the remaining 2 positions you are having the hydrogen. So now you will have the LDA. So at which side LDA will abstract the proton? So in that case you see this is the hydrogen, this is the hydrogen, these are very, very small. So this side is actually less sterically hindered, so LDA will abstract proton from here, while here due to in that case due to the presence of the methyl, it is the sterically hindered side. It is sterically hindered side. So whenever it is sterically hindered, so LDA is reluctant to go there actually. However, you will have the 2 products, minor product from this formation of the carbocation from this methyl also, but major product would be along this one. So you can draw the mechanism by your own actually to learn the concept very properly. So this is how by using LDA we can prepare the allyl alcohol. Okay, now moving to the next one, my next thing is epoxide opening with the DMSO. Epoxide opening with the DMSO. DMSO is nothing. If you know the structure of your ketone, acetone, then DMSO is quite simple. This is sulfur, this is double bond oxygen, and 2 of the methyl. This is dimethyl sulfoxide. If you replace this sulfur with the carbon, then it will become acetone. So this is the DMSO structure. So what will happen when actually you use the DMSO in the epoxide opening? So in that case, basically your epoxide, it will convert into ketones, or more correctly alpha ketones. Okay, then you can write either DMSO. There is no problem in that. Okay, so what would be the reaction in that case? Say for example, I am giving a very simple 6-membered ring, which is, and you are having this one epoxide. So I am not showing the stereochemistry of this epoxide, whether it is alpha or beta, and you are using the DMSO. So in that case it will result in the alpha ketones. That means at the alpha position of the ketone you will have the alcohol group. Okay, so here you will have this double bond. Okay, and at this particular position you are having the alpha. So if you check, this is your principal functional group, that is ketone, and this is your alpha carbon. This alpha is having the hydroxyl substitution, so it is actually your alpha ketone. So this is how you can do. Now how the reaction actually happens in that case? So this is your DMSO, dimethyl sulfoxide. So double bond present between the sulfur and the oxygen, so it will attack on the less sterically hindered side, but in that case the both sides are equivalent, so it can attack either from this carbon number 2 or this carbon number 3. It will not make any difference. Okay, so when it will attack in that manner, so what product you will have, right? So this will move over there, and then you will have your species. This is your 6-membered ring. Okay, and at this position your sulfur oxygen bond has attacked, so your oxygen will link with this one. Now this double would become single, and two of the methyls are there. Of course it would be now positively charged, okay, because it has lost the electron density, and this you will have the oxygen with negative sign. So there is, this is how you can actually do the reaction. So what happens in that next case, intramolecular, so I am writing intramolecular H positive abstraction. H positive abstraction, you know, one hydrogen is hidden here already. So what can happen in that case, this oxygen will grab this negative charge, this electron pair will grab this hydrogen. The moment it will grab this one, so what will happen, this electron pair gets shifted at this particular position, okay, and this bond which is already present, it goes with this, right, and your final product would be this 6-membered ring. This you will have the OH, and at this position you are having this one plus a side product which is nothing but sulfur with 2 methyl groups, dimethyl sulfide, okay. It is a hydrogen sulfide derivative, okay, so it is dimethyl sulfide. So you are producing that alpha ketones in that case. I hope you understood the reaction completely. So again I am giving you the detail. So here you can see what happens, this hydrogen actually which is hidden here, it is grabbed by this negatively charged oxygen. So this electron pair will move here and this electron pair will go, sorry, this cannot be, sorry, what I can do, I can remove this one, very sorry, we cannot break the bond actually, very sorry, okay. So this will move in that manner, okay. So this will shift here, this would be doubly bonded now, okay, and then this will go from here, this will go from here leading to this species. So this is how you can prepare this one. So very quickly we can see one more example of this, very simplest one in that case. Say you are having this simple epoxide, okay, and you are doing reaction with the DMSO. So you know you will produce the alpha ketone. So in that case you see 1, 2, only 2 carbons are there. So you can write carbon 1, carbon 2. So you can write 2 and 3 here. So this is 2 and this is 3, okay. And let's say this carbon is actually your alpha carbon. So what you do actually in that case, say you attack with this OH here, and this would convert into the ketone, and you know the ketone cannot be terminal, so you will put hydrogen here, okay. So in that case again you see at alpha carbon you are having this substitution, so it is again alpha ketones, but this is not ketone actually, this is your aldehyde. So depending upon the type of the epoxide, you may have the ketone, you may have the aldehyde. So this is how you can do the reactions in that case. I hope this is clear to you. Now next example, epoxide ring opening with the Lewis acids. So I can write it here, epoxide ring opening with Lewis acid. So you may take any Lewis acid, like say BF3 is there, and then diethyl ether, a very famous solvent you can take, okay. And sometimes you see magnesium bromide can also be taken, but I am not going into the details of the magnesium bromide reaction. So whenever you actually do the epoxide opening with the help of your Lewis acid in the diethyl ether medium, what actually you are forming in that case? So it's simply your epoxide gets converted, so I am writing La here, Lewis acid, into the carbonyl compounds, So you can see here, with the help of the epoxide you are producing nitriles, you are producing alcohols, you are producing ketones, you are producing carbonyl compounds, right, you are producing your sulfur derivative, like see various things actually you are doing in that case, right? So it is very, very important in the organic synthesis. That's why I have chosen this topic actually to explain. So in that case you will convert your epoxide in the carbonyl compound. So again you see what can happen in that case. Say you are having this epoxide, okay, and this epoxide say having 2 of the phenyl attached with it. So I am writing 2 of the pH here, okay. Of course the 2 of the hydrogen would be there. There is no need to define the stereochemistry here, there is no stereochemical change as such. Okay, so basically it's a kind of rearrangement. Okay, it's a kind of the rearrangement. So I can write rearrangement also. I'll explain actually how the rearrangement is happening in that case. So simply what you can do, you can write your Lewis acid, okay, and take this mixture in the diethyl ether, a solvent here. Okay, what it will give you, say this is your phenyl substitution, this is also the phenyl substitution, and here you are having the carbon, double bond oxygen, this is hydrogen. So this is aldehyde. This is aldehyde. So what has happened in that case? Say if you see, this oxygen as carbon number 1, this is carbon number 2, this is carbon number 3. So in the reactant you are having the carbon at carbon 2 and carbon 3 you are having the phenyl, but in the product you see you are having, say this is carbon 1, this is carbon 2, at carbon 2 you are having the 2 phenyls. What it means actually, one of the methyl actually has shifted, one of the phenyl has shifted from 3 to this position 3 to position 2 actually, right? So that's why I am saying this reaction as a rearrangement. I am looking this reaction as a rearrangement reaction. So how this reaction goes, I can draw the mechanism for this one. So how you can draw the mechanism, say for example, this is your oxygen, this is your oxygen, and oxygen having the 2 lone pairs over there, and 2 are the phenyls. Okay, so I am focusing on the phenyl also only. So okay, I am putting hydrogen also, right? So in that case what will happen, you are having the BF3. Now this is Lewis acid, right? So it is actually electrophile. So earlier the reaction which we were doing, actually they are the nucleophiles, but it is electrophile. So it cannot attack on these carbons, because you know this carbon is positively charged, this carbon is also positively charged. So this BF3 cannot attack because it is already electron deficient, it cannot attack at these positions, right? So what happens, actually the lone pair present on this oxygen will be actually donated to this BF3 molecule, and you will have the intermediate species. That intermediate species would be like that, oxygen with positive charge. Okay, why positive charge? Because one of the electron pair is consumed by the BF3 in the formation of the bond. So BF3 is actually having this extra electron, so you can put negative over there, and then you are having the phenyl here, your hydrogen is here, and another phenyl and your hydrogen. So this is the structure of the intermediate. Okay, now what happens in that case, you see, so I can use the different color for this one. One of the phenyl, since this is the actually the symmetric type of the epoxide, so it will not make any difference whether this phenyl will move here, right, or this can move here. So this will not actually make any difference. So when it is not making any difference, so you can choose either of the pathway. Okay, so what pathway actually I am choosing in that case? See, this phenyl along with this electron pair, remember along with this electron pair it will shift here. So this carbon would become tetravalent now. So whenever when it becomes the tetravalent now, so in that case what will happen, this electron pair actually will go to this oxygen, and from here it moves to this position. Okay, so what would be the resulting species in that case? Say this is your phenyl, and this is your next phenyl which have migrated, and this is the hydrogen. There is no problem in that. Okay, this bond has this bond has broken, so I am not writing this bond, but this bond is still there, but it is having now double bond. Single bond is already there, one electron pair actually is coming from here to here. Okay, so this is the way of explaining. However, in the textbook you can straightforward see this arrow from here to here. Okay, but I have drawn in that manner. First it is coming here, then it is going there. Okay, this is just the way of explanation. Okay, so when you do this, actually what will happen, this carbon will have the double bond oxygen, okay, and the hydrogen is over there, and of course this would be positively charged because it is still having your BF3 with negative sign. Okay, so if you do the protic workup, so what can happen during the protic workup? This, or say if you are not doing the protic workup, if you are doing in the other way, so you can use the diethyl ether also. So in that case when you do this, so this BF3 actually will remove from here, and this will give you the final product. This is pH, this is also pH, okay, and this is double bond oxygen, this is hydrogen, and this will actually, sorry, very sorry, and this electron pair go there actually. Okay, so this is actually now neutral in that case. So there is no need to show the entire mechanism how this BF3 is removing and at all and all these things. So you straightforward write the protic workup. So this is how you can actually do the reaction in that case. So let's see one more example of this. So that example, say you are having this decaline system, okay, and along with this decaline, see this is your decaline system and you are having the methyl here, and at this position you are having the epoxide. It is actually in the lower side, so I can show this with the dashed wedge. In that manner I can draw. Okay, so you know what will happen in that case. You will use this BF3 Lewis acid and the combination of diethyl ether, so it will result in this particular product, 2 6-membered ring. Okay, this is the methyl. You know this position cannot have the double bond, because it will make the carbon pentavalent. Only this position can have your double bond. Okay, so you can write it just like that. So this is how you can draw the mechanism. So this is again, you see, quite simple in that case. Now if you can go through the mechanism by your own, which I have explained here actually. Following this mechanism you can complete this also. So this is how the epoxide ring opening will occur with the DMSO. So these are the some of the important things which actually you should know. Now the next thing, say for example, what we can do, Wittig reaction to open the epoxide. So my next point is Wittig reaction. Wittig reaction. Okay, so how we can use this Wittig reaction in order to open the epoxide? So in that case you should take the Wittig-elite. Wittig-elite, and I hope you know the structure of the Wittig-elite. So basically say for example you are having this PH3 and phosphorus, it's a triphenyl phosphine, okay, and it is doubly bonded with the carbon along with the hydrogen, okay, and you are having this ester part here, COOET. Okay, so this is actually the one of the form of the Wittig-elide. So how it can go actually, you see this is the electronegative group, right, and this carbon is more electronegative and then this phosphorus, so this electron density can shift here. So when this can shift here, so you will have the resonance structure for this one, and that resonance structure would be PH3 P single bond CH with negative, okay, and this phosphorus with positive, and then you are having this COOET. So this is actually your Wittig-elide. Okay, so when you use this Wittig-elide, then actually you convert your epoxide into your say ester, epoxide into ester. Okay, so removal of the oxygen from there. So how the reaction goes in that case, you see here, say I am having my this 6-membered ring, okay, and this is my oxygen, this is my epoxide. So since it is nucleophilic, you know this carbon is positive, this carbon is also positively charged, so this negative charge can attack to either of the carbon, whether carbon 2 or carbon 3, it will not make any difference. Okay, so when it will attack here, actually what will happen, this bond will break and electron density will shift here, and what product, what intermediate you will have in that case, so you will have your intermediate in that manner. Okay, so because this is attacked here, so this is carbon, okay, and this along with this carbon you are having this COOET, because it is attached here actually, and then this carbon is also having the triphenyl phosphine PH3, okay, and that part is actually your O negative. Okay, so did I miss something? Yes, hydrogen is also there. So this carbon is tetravalent. Okay, so this species you are having, and of course your phosphorus is positively charged in that case. Okay, so this is the intermediate. Now actually your ring closure will take place. Okay, so how the ring closure will take place? Say I am putting the numbers. Okay, say this was carbon number 2, this was carbon number 3, this was carbon number 4. Okay, so this is how actually the things are there. So what can happen? It can undergo the ring closure. And so how the ring closure will actually take place? See, carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3 and your oxygen. So I can write oxygen as number 1. So it will actually it will do the reaction in that case. So negatively charged oxygen actually will attack on the see, I have actually, what I can do, I can write this in that manner. I can write COOET here, okay, and then I can write PPH3 here. This will actually looking more good. This is how. So this negatively charged will attack here actually. So this is you see here, this oxygen is 1, this carbon is 2, this is 3, this is 4, and this phosphorus is 5. So what I can do, I can write 5 over there. So actually the ring closure will occur and you will have the 5-membered ring. So whenever you will have the 5-membered ring, so you will have this particular compound. The 6-membered ring was already there, and then you are having this 5-membered ring which is having oxygen, which is having this, and you know, after oxygen immediately you are having the phosphorus. So you can immediately write phosphorus here, and this phosphorus is having PH3, okay, triphenyl phosphine it is having. So this is how you can write. So what I can do, I can remove this part from here. Okay, so this is how you can actually draw the structure. So in the next step, what can happen? You can do you can remove the phosphorus from here by certain workup. So in that case, you see this oxygen actually, right? This oxygen, this particular bond will shift toward this phosphorus, right? And when this will happen, that means your phosphorus double bond oxygen along with the PH3 it will remove. Okay, so this is the POPH3 which actually we have removed here. So this oxygen has removed from here and this phosphorus is removed from here. Now you left with 1, 2 and 3, only 3 carbons. Okay, so then the ring closure will occur in that case, this, and then your ring closure. Okay, and that ring closure, I missed something. I actually missed this thing actually, COOET from here. Okay, so and this will have now COOET. Okay, so this is how you can use the viticulite in the reaction. So since actually I made 1 or 2 mistakes actually during the explanation of the mechanism, so I want to go little one more time actually to explain the mechanism. So this negatively charged actually will grab the hydrogen from here, this will shift here. Okay, so this is how the conditions will look like. Here the ring closure will occur and you will end up with the 5-membered ring, right? And that 5-membered ring, just after your oxygen you are having the phosphorus, so you are having the phosphorus along with PH3, and after that this particular carbon is having COOET, so you are having the COOET here. And if you do the reaction further, there must be some driving force. So I didn't written that driving force here actually. So this actually will remove from here, this oxygen will shift here, and that then you see here, in that case this will, the ring closure will takes place in that case. Okay, so how the ring closure will takes place actually, this actually, right, this will shift here, this bond will shift here actually. So this was 1, this was 2, and it has shifted here, this was 3. So 3-membered ring would be there. So in that case, in this way you can actually draw the mechanism. Okay, so this is how you can explain with the help of the viticulite. So there are see various kinds of the reaction in that case, and you can do the reaction by your own also. But before completing the lecture, I want to actually throw light some of the important reaction of this kind. So see what actually how we can draw the certain things in that case. Okay, say now see what we are doing, we are doing some practice actually in that case. Say you are having the epoxide, say you are having this one, this epoxide you are having, okay, and this is your OH, this is C double bond O, and here you see this is the epoxide. So this is epoxide. Okay, now if you use the base to this one, say for example, if you have used sodium bicarbonate, NaHCO3, so it simply means Na is positive and this is the base. So obviously this base will require your acidic hydrogen. So you can search for the acidic hydrogen in that case. So this is your acidic hydrogen. So I can write your acidic hydrogen in that manner. Okay. So this base will look for the acidic hydrogen. So this will attack on this, right? And then you are having the oxygen with negatively charged. So what it will give you? See, it will give you this species. Okay, sorry for my bad drawing of the structures. Just like that, okay, and this is double bond oxygen, and now this oxygen is negatively charged because it is having the electron density from this. Now this is actually this is the nucleophile which is present within the molecule. So intramolecular attack of the nucleophile on the electrophilic carbon, and you know this carbon is actually if you see here, these two carbons, it is electrophilic in nature, it is electrophilic in nature. Okay, now in that case the most feasible pathway to attack of the most feasible pathway by which the oxygen can attack on the hydrogen present on it, it is actually the less crowded side, less hindered side. So due to the presence you see here, this is due to the presence of this bridge actually. So this side is hindered, so this oxygen cannot attack from here. This is not very feasible. However, you may have the minor product also, but it can very easily attack here. So it is actually very easily will form the 5-membered ring or the ring compound. Okay. So what it can happen in that case? What can happen in that case? This negatively charged oxygen will attack here. Okay, and this bond gets broken, and when when this bond gets broken, so you will have this species, and that species would look like this. Okay, and bridge is there in that case, and this would be now negatively charged. Okay, and this species was having this one, and this oxygen has attacked here, this will linked here. So it is you see, if you see here, say this is carbon 1, this is carbon 2, this is carbon 3, carbon 4 and oxygen 5. So it's a 5-membered ring. Okay, and if you do the protic workup, so this will grab this one and it will give you your final product, and that product would be just like that. Okay, alcohol in that position and oxygen connected with the carbon double bond oxygen, and this is the 5-membered ring. So this is actually lactone. Okay, and this lactone part is actually to the bottom of this norbornene molecule, okay, moiety. So it is actually endolactone. So the formation of the endolactone is very, very good and very, very facile in that case. Okay, so this is something very, very important. And remember, your base actually, whatever the base is there, this base, this will expect the proton actually. This will attack from this actually, right? This will actually abstract the proton from here actually, and then this will attack. Okay, so it cannot attack from this position because it is hindered. So this is how you can form. So epoxide formation, see generally in that in this way you can explain the things actually. Okay, so this is how actually you can go through the reaction mechanism of this one. I hope this is clear to you. And then there are various reagents by which you can do such kind of the reactions. Okay, but see, I cannot cover all the reaction in this single lecture, but I am giving you a very important example, one or two examples which are must actually for you. What it say, you see here, in that case, say I am having what I can form. Okay, say you are having this species. Okay, and this species you have been given, and at this position you are having NO2 group. Okay, and this is alkene, and you have been given the reagents. First reagent is MCPBA, metachloroperbenzoic acid. Second reagent, say sodamide, NH2, dissolved in ammonia, liquid ammonia, and step number 3, you are having H3O positive. So I am leaving, say in that case actually what can happen, I can leave this question as home exercise for you. Okay, so how actually you can go for this particular reaction. You know, this is MCPBA, which will do the epoxidation at this site, and once the epoxidation would occur, then this amide, which is the base, it will extract the proton from some position. Actually this position is having the proton. Okay, this position is also having the proton. You will extract the proton from here, and it will make the negatively charged species, and then the ring closure would occur, and when the ring closure will occur, then it will lead to the cyclic compound. So I am giving you the product actually. So what product actually it can have? Say alcohol at this position and NO2 here and a 3-membered ring. Okay, and after that you may have one more product, alcohol at this position, and this is your NO2, and this is actually connected with this one. Okay, so in that case you see, in both the cases, say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 3-membered ring. Again you see, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, 3-membered ring. Okay, so these two products actually you can think of, but in that case remember, this actually nitrogen oxygen bond, this nitrogen oxygen bond would be longer. So when this is longer, it is the weaker one. So this is the less stable product, thermodynamically less stable product, while these in this case actually you see the bond lengths are quite okay. Okay, so this is the more stable product. This is something very, very important. Okay, but remember one thing, whenever you do this epoxidation actually in the first step actually, right, so epoxide will form from the less hindered side. This is something very, very important which you should know actually. So less hindered side is that means it is going, the epoxide will form at the top position in that manner. Okay, so this is again a very, very important reaction. So before completing this one, before completing this particular lecture, now I am discussing the last question to you, or last thing actually. Say for example, you see it is very, very important, which actually now I am explaining. It is actually not last example. I left with the 1 or 2 examples which are very, very important for you to understand. Say for example, you have been given, say, this 6-membered ring. Okay, it's a decalene system, and this CH3 is here, and then your hydrogen is here. Okay, and say at this position you are having the epoxide. Okay, in that manner. Okay, so this is your first example, and say in the second example I'll make a little change to this, and that change is, say I am putting hydrogen here, and this hydrogen is alpha here, and while remaining structure is same. Okay, so what I can do, I can put oxygen here, and this is your epoxide actually. Okay, so if you do the reaction with this, actually if you take the nucleophile with this one, any nucleophile you can take, so in that case the product would be diequatorial. The product would be diequatorial, while in this case the product would be diaxial. Okay, so why actually this will happen, and what is the reason behind this? So reason is quite simple. Say I am removing this one and I am drawing the chair conformer for this one, Decalene system. Okay, in that manner. Okay, and then you are having this system. Okay, and this actually your methyl or any alkyl group. Okay, this is your hydrogen, and this bond is having your epoxide. Okay, you see here. Now you are having your nucleophile. You are having the nucleophile. Remember, whenever this is actually the alkyl group, when this would be the alkyl group, so due to the presence of this alkyl group, actually this alkyl group and the nucleophile, actually this nucleophile and this alkyl group, actually this alkyl group and this nucleophile, they will actually decide the product in that case. So here I am having the two options. Okay, so what options I can have? This nucleophile may attack to this carbon, which is your say certain carbon number, or this nucleophile may attack to this one. Now you have two options, and you can very clearly see here, if your nucleophile, which is this one, if it is attacking from here, so it will experience the steric repulsion or 1,3 diaxial interaction with this one. So this actually attack is not very feasible due to this due to the presence of the methyl group. Why? Because it will actually repel this nucleophile, or steric interaction would occur, steric repulsion would occur. So in that case this attack is not feasible, and when this attack is not feasible, obviously your nucleophile will attack to this particular carbon. So when this will attack in this particular carbon, what it can actually form? This is your 6-membered ring. Okay, and again you are having your next 6-membered ring in that way. Okay, this was your methyl up, this was your hydrogen down. So when this will attack here, what will happen? This bond will break and the electron density will shift here. So this particular part actually will have oxygen with negatively charged. Okay, it is not axial. Remember, it is not axial, it is equatorial. Okay, and then this bond actually has broken. So this nucleophile will go in that direction. Okay, obviously it will go to the your equatorial side, because in this equatorial side there would be less repulsion. So if you do the protonation of this one, right, if you do the protic workup of this one, so it will result in this particular product. I can draw in that manner. Okay, this is your nucleophile, which is equatorial, and this is your OH, which is equatorial, and this was your methyl. So it's a diequatorial product. Remember, whenever you have this CH3, then it will result in the diequatorial product, because this attack would take place. And here in that case, you see why this happens actually, because in that case I am not drawing this the transition state, but in that case the transition state is actually very high energy boat, high energy twist boat conformation is there for the transition state. So that's why it goes to the this one. But when you have hydrogen here, actually when you have the hydrogen here, then this nucleophile, right, if I can draw the mechanism, if I can draw this again here, Okay, this one. Now if this is hydrogen and this is hydrogen again, and this is your say epoxide, okay, in that manner, and you are having the nucleophile which is attacking, which is Nu. So now this hydrogen is smaller in size when compared to this. See, if you see, this methyl is bulky, this hydrogen is smaller. So it can, this nucleophile can very easily attack on the carbon number 3. And when this will attack on the carbon number 3, so the transition state actually would be the chair transition state, chair conformation. So when chair conformation is there, so in that case what will happen, you see how we can draw this again, just like that. Sorry, so I am removing this one, okay, I don't need it anymore. So you will have this structure, okay, this is your this Decalene system, and since this is axial hydrogen, so nucleophile obviously will go to the axial position, okay, and when this will go to the axial position, what will happen, this will attack here and this will go there, so this will come down in that manner, axial, because it is again, you see the bottom side. Remember, if you know the stereochemistry of these systems, actually up carbons, these carbons are up carbons, they have the axial hydrogen at the top side, and bottom carbons actually, which are these one, they have the hydrogen in the bottom side. So this is actually your bottom carbon, so this oxygen go to this particular position, okay, and you end up with this product, that is diaxial product. So you will remember this particular point, whenever this R group is the alkyl group, then you will have the diequatorial product, and when you have this as hydrogen, then you will have the diaxial thing. So this is very important concept which you should remember.